Hey everybody, it's Tara Pritchett, confidence coach for women, speaker, author, and I'm excited. I told y'all I had an announcement, right? Y'all thought I was playing. Guess what? I'm tired of playing small, right? And I know it's a lot happening with this global pandemic, but guess what? I decided that I'm gonna turn up, whether it's the pandemic or not. We about to get it popping. So, my big announcement that I made today is that I am opening up the doors for the first time ever for my Empowerment Boss virtual retreat weekend. So, I have been in business for a number of years, right? Some of you could have been in business way longer than me. Some of y'all, right, could just be just starting, and then other people are just sitting on the sidelines and they're inboxing me and they're messaging me and they're like, Tara, like, can you be my mentor? Or, I need some help with this, or I need to work on marketing, and so on and so forth. So I get questions all the time. I get text messages all the time. Hey, right? So people constantly reach out to me. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of emails and messages that I get that I have to go through to see what it is that people want and what it is that people need, right? As they are reaching out to me. So, I decided, right, and I had this idea a number of years ago, and I dip and dabbled in it, and I was like, I don't know about this, right? But finally, I feel like it's my time, and I decided to take that leap and to create my Empowerment Boss virtual retreat weekend. Hey, and that is for women who want to get paid for their gifts. So many women tell me that, that they're speaking or they're mentoring, right? And they like helping and they like serving, and I do too. Obviously, by trade I am a teacher, right? Right? But I also know I'm called for something way bigger than that, right? And I empower them and I serve them and I get paid for that, right? Because that is a traditional route in terms of a career, is to be a teacher. However, right? However, a second skill set that I picked up since my first year as a teacher is I have learned over the years, right? And that's through me investing and learning and reading and trial and error. I've also learned a whole lot about entrepreneurship, and with the current state of our economy and with the way in which we're in this global pandemic, I'm so happy and grateful that that is a skill that I picked up and that I've been honing and learning. So I have not only been going to work full time for the last 8 years, I've also been an entrepreneur, right? The majority of that time, where I'm learning and I'm trial and erroring and I'm trying to understand marketing. I'm trying to understand branding. I'm trying to understand selling. So by trade, I'm not a marketer. By trade, I'm not a brander or brand specialist or anything of that nature. But I have learned so much that I have a lot of key gems. I have a lot of juicy nuggets, that I am able to share with others, in particular women, right? Because that is my target audience, that I really love to work with, and I really love to support them, because men, y'all have y'all have tons of opportunities for you guys to succeed in business. There are tons of guys out here who are business coaches, life coaches, so on and so forth, that you can tap into. But I specifically want to work with women who I like to call empowerment bosses. And what is an empowerment boss? Because that is a term that I like to think that I coined, but I came out with it maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And if you look at my old website, like a long time ago, you'll see I have a whole thing on there about what is an empowerment boss. So an empowerment boss is somebody who likes empowering people. They like serving people. So they're really into helping the community. That might be with children, that might be with teenagers, that might be with the older population, that might be with women, right? That could still even be with men, right? You're just a person that loves empowering and you love serving, and there's a gift that you have that you want to give to others, but you also have aspirations of possibly getting paid for that thing, getting paid well for it. Because oftentimes when you work in a helping, okay, sorry, somebody is actually trying to pay for. Hi, Kim. Somebody's trying to pay for the virtual retreat weekend, and they're messaging me. Sorry. So So oftentimes they would like to get paid for it. But when we're in a helping or serving, if you're a caregiver, if you're an educator, right, or you want to work with teenagers, or you want to empower women, it's often, or you want to be a social worker, or you want to be a health counselor, or it's oftentimes not enough money in those traditional positions for you to be able to get paid, right, to do those particular jobs, right? So you can make a good living off of it. But if you're an athlete, obviously you're going to make a whole ton of money, right? And our world is obviously showing us right now how crazy that is, because so many people, what, they're homeschooling, and they're seeing how much time and energy and effort and work goes into actually creating a classroom environment, right? And the parents are either home with one, maybe one, two, three, four, maybe five or six kids. But a teacher's with what, 30 kids, 25 kids, and they all got different needs, right? So, and that's just like being a business owner if you have multiple clients, or if you create an online course so you have multiple clients and you have to keep up with all those different parts that are going on. But I think people are starting to see the value, like, oh, okay, we need to pay teachers more because look at all the work they're doing. That's the same thing with, mental health professionals, social workers, other people that work in schools, other people that work in healthcare, right? And those helping professions, they need to be paid more, right? But that's not always the case. So that's where I got the idea from an empowerment boss, somebody who likes empowering, right? So oftentimes this person also probably likes really inspirational quotes when they pop up on Facebook and Instagram. We're like, oh my God, hey, we're like, oh my God, these quotes are so amazing. And they're so, you love those, or you post them all the time. But there's a lot of people I know, hey, who are posting those things, or they have their own podcast, or they're running their own Facebook Live shows, or they're doing stuff, but they're not actually being paid for that. Like, there are some people who have some amazing podcasts, but they don't know how to have sponsors for that podcast, right? There are some people who are doing an excellent job, and they go live and they post the inspirational quotes. So they're empowering people and they're lifting people up and they're serving and they're giving up their time. They're responding to comments. They looking for stuff, quotes to post, right? But they have additional gifts that they could be paid for in additional ways. Yeah, additional ways that they can be serving others, right? So when I'm talking about an empowerment boss, that is somebody that we want to go beyond just empowering and serving. Oh my God, I love the community. Absolutely. So obviously there are nonprofits and there are people that work in that realm, and I'm not knocking them, right? My mom has worked in that field for a number of years. She doesn't anymore, but she has. A number of my friends have nonprofits. But then obviously we have business that are for profit, right? And I've always been on the business for profit side, not because I'm money hungry and I'm greedy and because I think that I'm just out to get the money. No, that's absolutely not what it's about, right? But what I've had to learn on the journey, right, is that it's important for you. If God gives you the vision, he's also going to give you the provision as well. So if you are really good, if he has blessed you to be able to whip something up in a package and put it together quickly, like that's a gift that you have that everyone else doesn't have. So you are worthy enough and deserving enough to be paid for that thing. You should be able to build a living or build a life off of that, where you're empowering and serving others in some way, even if it's you baking cookies and you're giving it to somebody and it's like, oh girl, here you go. Right? Or even if you like do hair and you're making people beautiful, you're still empowering them. But there are so many ways that like a hairstylist can get paid to do stuff. And I learned that from my very first business coach, because she took this one hairstylist who was just making like, I can't even remember the amount, and like quadrupled her ish, right? And like a couple weeks, because she was like, there are so many missed opportunities that you're missing, right? That you could be monetizing and creating this. Thank you. She said, I know it's off topic. Thank you. I appreciate it. Right. So, and she quadrupled her income for her, and she had like 3 kids. And I think she got to retire her husband, because instead of her just doing hair and making people feel beautiful and empowering them, she took it to the next level. And she was like, okay, sis, what if you had your own products? Okay, well, now what if you had your own course where you actually, so you do your client's hair, but then you have a little small mini course or little video series where you teach them how to maintain that hair once they're not here. Right? Or what if you also created your own like headscarf, right? So it's about you thinking like a boss or like an entrepreneur, right? Versus you just, I'm just going to empower people and I'm just going to serve. And obviously, we are obviously here to serve, right? So, like I said, don't get me wrong. That's why we're here. We're here to empower. We're here to serve. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? That is our purpose as to why we're here. But for those who want to do it full time and or those who would like to have income on the side, so you don't want to just write a book just to write a book, right? Or you don't just want to go out and help people. You love helping people, but at the end of the day, you got to eat. You got to take care of your family. And it would be nice if you did make a little extra on the side where you could go on that vacation that you wanted to go on, or that you could buy X, Y, and Z thing that you want, right? Or you could add to your savings, or you could pay down a certain debt, right? So it's nice to have that extra thing on the side. So it's about you going beyond just the surface of, I want to empower people, or I just want to write a book, right? It's about how can I create epic experiences, right, for other people, but at the same time I also, right, get to build a solid business. I also get to build a great empire, right? And that's switching yourself from just empowering and serving others to you actually bringing the boss part in it, right? So B.O.S.S, right? Like a boss. Thank you, Kim, right? So, and this, I have an acronym for that, right? So you're going to empower, but then I also need you to boss up. And I need you to be business minded. Being business minded means that you understand that when you write a book, you're not just writing a book. When you give a TED Talk, you're not just giving a TED Talk. And even if you're like saying, oh, I'm just a teacher, I'm not just a teacher. I'm much more than that. And I know, make sure I let my students know that, right? And so many students come back to me and say, you know what, you are such a big role model, because it's not just about what we're doing in here. You do things out here that inspire me to want to be something more than this. Like, we're not just in these four walls where you're just teaching me to be in this space. What you're showing me is how expanded I can be. I can be multi-passionate and do more than one thing. I don't just have to go to college and be narrowed into this thing, right? But you should obviously have a thing you're good at, right? But that's a whole different conversation. But you want to learn how to be business minded, right? And that was my issue when I started and I released my first online class in 2013, because I'm like, oh, y'all, I'm a teacher. I can teach in class. I can make an online course. And I went through my Facebook memories and I found it, and I got it all designed and it was all nice. And I put it up on my little website, and guess what? Nobody purchased it. And I was devastated. Guess what? Because I'm all about empowering, and I don't understand anything about business. I don't understand. Even if you have a nonprofit where it's not about you physically getting the money, you are trying to get money for your nonprofit so you can serve other people. It's a similar skill set. You still got to know how to brand. You still got to know how to market. You still got to know how to sell so that people want to give you the money so you can go mentor the girls, right? You can't mentor the girls, or you can't have your company that you want to, help, domestic violence survivors if you don't got the money. So it's like you still need the strategy. So that's why the B in boss is that you need to be business minded. So that's why I spent the last decade once that course was a flop, right? I spent the last decade investing and learning from a branding coach, learning from business mentors, right? Who could give me those tools, right? Learning how to set up a sales funnel. I was telling one of my own clients, I literally spent like $300 just to sit down for a weekend and learn how to do sales. And when I tell you that $300 has multiplied so many times, because I have a system down, and that's one of my S's that I'm gonna get to in a second. And I reuse it over and over and over and over again. A lot of stuff, even that you see that I post on my Facebook page, and stuff that I've used over and over and over again. Things that are on my website from 2013 that I use over and over and over again. Thank you, right? I use it over and over again, right? Because once you've created everything, then you can really build off of that and maximize that, right? That's when you're getting into being business minded. It's not just about empowering people and just posting, your prayers or your quotes or your thing. And I know you see I post those things, but there's a reason why, right? There is a strategic reason why I post those particular things, because they're leading people to other things, right? And it's not to trick people, right? But it's a way that you pull people through, right? That's what you're being business minded. It's moved from being a consumer where you're trying to stand in line to get the Jordans and get the iPhone to you understand the psychology as to why Ray Ray and them are going to stand in line to get those things, right? And again, we're not talking about taking advantage of people, but there is psychology behind why people buy the things they do, buy certain things. There is psychology behind the words that you use, right? So it's like you have to be more strategic and focused about the things you put out, right? So again, that's the B. That's business minded. The O is optimistic. As a boss, you have to be optimistic and understand the fact that making money is very, very easy. But if you think making money is hard, that there is a lack of money, there's not enough to go around, that money is evil, that if you get money and somebody else doesn't have money, like during the pandemic, then you're a terrible, horrible person, right? So you have to learn how to shift your beliefs about money. And that's something I'm going to be going over during the Empowerment Boss Retreat weekend. Pretty much during all the sessions, I'm going to be going over the boss mindset again. But if you don't have the right mindset down, even if I teach you how to build a course, it doesn't matter. Even if I teach you how to do your marketing a little bit better, it doesn't matter if you don't have the mindset. And being an entrepreneur, you have to be optimistic because you're going to fail. You're going to fail. Even once you have invested in a coach and you've learned something and you try something out the first time, it might not work because you have to go back and try and redo it, retweak it, and that's a lot. So I'm just being honest with you. People pull through to get to their exactly, right? So you right are not always going to succeed the very first time because you got to try stuff out. You might make that post and nobody might like it. You might tweak it a little bit and voila, you like, well, damn, I just changed like 2 words and now y'all liking everything, right? It's really crazy like that, right? So and every entrepreneur can tell you that they have their up, they have their down, and that's famous people, that's everyday small business people, there's going to be that up and down as you learn on the journey. So you gotta be optimistic, you gotta be resilient, you gotta know how to persevere, right? So do you know the 409 formula? And I teach this in my other academy called Powerfully. Sorry, I teach this at my other academy. It's called Powerfully Positioned Women Academy, and there is a whole module on purpose. And I teach people how to build their own platforms, and I teach a whole lesson on perseverance and resiliency, because it doesn't matter whether you have a business or you just in your freaking career, it's gonna be ups and downs. But you got to be able to pull through even when things look like they're not. So the formula. It's a formula called 409. You could purchase it to clean your home, right? Know why it's called 409? Because that is the 409th time that the creators of it tried to create a formula that they could sell that would help to clean stuff, right? And so I always try to tell my clients, do you have it in you? Do you have it in you to try 409 times to get that right, to get that book to the bestseller, right? Sometimes you're going to make a bestseller the first time. Other times you got to go through the process to get to the promise on the other side. So that's why as an empowerment boss, as a business owner, you have to be optimistic, right? You got to be optimistic that you're going to make the money, you're going to make the right connections, but then also you're going to be successful. Hello, right? So again, B, you want to be business minded, and then the O, you want to be more messages. You want to be optimistic, right? And then my first S is that you need to be strategic, right? Again, it's not just about empowering people or showing up and making connections with people. You have to be strategic. So even if you're going to a networking event, being strategic. So when I go into this room, right, and I had to do this because I'm an introvert, right? So I don't like small talk normally. And I don't always, even though a lot of people think, A, I'm an extrovert, and B, they think that I'm like loud and I'm around and all that because I'm a teacher and a speaker, so I could do all that. But it's different when I'm in a small room and I gotta talk to people. So I strategically will say, okay, Tara, you have to connect with at least 3 people in this way, and you're looking for people in this similar field or in this similar blah blah blah. I don't know, I make something up, right? You got to be strategic. again, if you're posting things on Facebook, you're marketing your posts. So say you do have a book that you're going to sell. Your post should be strategically aligned to your book and should be driving people back to the book. Even if you're pulling quotes out of it, it should be strategic. The same thing is true with your branding. If you have a certain color that's going to dominate your brand, then we need to start seeing that all the time, right? So if you look at me right now, what's my color, right? You see I got the pink necklace. Somebody already commented on it. I put that on purpose, right? I had my pink curtain behind me. It ain't perfect, right? But I got pink. If I actually turn my camera around, you'll see the room I'm in is pretty pink and purpled out, like for the most part. If you see my book cover, you're going to see pink, you're going to see black, right? If you came into my home and you saw that I had tubs for my business, it's full of what? Pink stuff. That is a dominant color, right? Because pink has a certain feel to it. There's a certain tone to it, and I have that there for a reason. Right. So I need you to be more strategic. Right. I recently did an interview and I showed up for the interview. I had on a pink top and a black skirt. Right. And the person that was interviewing me was like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to dress up like my book. Like, that's a great move. And I was like, you can if you want to. It's something that's just so ingrained because you are your brand. When you walk in, God is walking in or whatever higher power. That's what I believe, right? But then also my brand is walking in as well, right? So obviously I'm not looking perfect all the time. But if possible, especially if I'm going to a speaking event or I'm going somewhere where my brand is represented, I'm going to look like I am my brand, if that makes sense. So that's you being strategic, right? So if I hopped on a live interview right now, let's say with Tanya that's on here, then I probably would throw on something that's pink, or I might throw on my branded shirt, right? Because that's representing my brand. I'm being strategic about placing things. Why? Because what do we know about marketing is that sometimes people have to see things at least 7 times before they buy it. So you just post one Facebook post with your book. Here's my book right here. One time, people are not going to buy that, right? If you post, oh, I have this one product right here, or if you're constantly just posting in your Instagram or Facebook stories, that's not strategic. But if you're posting in multiple different places, right, strategically placing it, right, and not like overdoing it and like inboxing people, do you want to buy my stuff? Do you want to? Because people do that and I unfriend them. Soon as I accept their friend request, they're in my inbox. Do you want to buy this? But you haven't built a relationship. So that's not being strategic. Yes, when you show up, God shows up with you. Right? So again, business minded, optimistic, strategic. And then the last thing is systematic, right? Being a empowerment boss is about being systematic. That means you have systems in your business. So that means that you don't have to text everybody to come show up and do this. That means you can send out a one big email blast and let everybody know X, Y, and Z. Right? Or like I said, whenever I run a challenge, there is a system that I follow in terms of my verbiage, in terms of when I send the emails out, how I send the emails out, how I'm asking people for a sale, how I'm delivering the content, how I'm showing up online. It is systematic, right? There's a system to the way in which I operate, even how I post in my Facebook group, right? There is a system, right, in place that allows me to because I still work full time, right? So I have to have a systems in place so that when I'm at work and say Paige buys something off of my website, that she doesn't have to necessarily wait for me to get out of my class to come send her X, Y, and Z product, right? Because I have a system, right? I pay for automated systems and I take the time, and it does take time to set up the system so that when she pays for whatever it is, that it automatically is going to her, right? Obviously, if you have a physical product, then you might have to ship it, but at least make sure they get an email that says thanks for your purchase, or it takes them to the next place where they put in their email and all of that, so that works. And you have to check those systems, because sometimes I'm like, oh wait, I gotta go check that system, right? Because I know Tanya emailed me one time like, where is my magnetic with men kit at, or something, right? So you also got to go back and check your systems too to make sure they're still working if you put them in place a long time ago, or they have been working, but you never know, things shift, things change. So you gotta like stay on top of even the systems that you put out, but having those systems helps you to get paid more and to be consistent. Not only that, one thing I didn't mention, but when it comes to getting paid opportunities, right? For those of you who like to empower people and you like to speak, right? Or you like to vent and things of that nature, or you want to be more visible as this empowerment boss that you are. You have an empowering message, you have an empowering product or service that makes people feel good, that saves people time or money, that uplifts people, that brings people together, whatever the case may be. Then you have to start not only being business minded, being optimistic, being strategic and systematic, but then you also have to start speaking up, right? You have to start speaking up, right? I'm gonna give y'all a bonus. That's a bonus S and bosses, right? Triple, squared, whatever. Right. But speaking up, as in pitching yourself, letting people know what it is that you have to offer. Like, oh, hey, so and so, right? Obviously being strategic about that. And if you want to speak a certain times per year and you want to get paid a certain amount, you got to have a system down as to how many people you're going to pitch yourself to, how much, strategic about the cost and how that's going to operate. But you got to start speaking up, start letting people know this is what I offer. Beyond, again, just empowering people, let people know I also offer X, Y, and Z, right? Because closed mouths, they don't get fed, but they also don't get paid. Because there's a lot of women I know who are awesome at mentoring. They're awesome at speaking. They have awesome books, but you're not speaking up. People don't even know you offer that. I was talking to one of my clients recently, and she was like, oh, I offer blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait, you do? Because I know you, and I didn't even know you offer that. I didn't even know you could do that. And she was like, yeah, I could do that. And I was like, so when are we letting people know you could do that? Right? So you got to make what you do visible to people. Make it visible. And I'll be teaching a lot of those strategies in my Empowerment Boss virtual retreat weekend, right? Because when I first started, I was like, I'm not posting that on Facebook because y'all gonna be like, well, who does she think she is? Why is she putting that out there? Guess what? Now I don't care. That doesn't mean I don't feel fear at all or I don't feel a little imposter. I'd be like, you imposter, you can sit down because guess what? I'm posting this and we're doing this. So you're gonna jump on board and then we're gonna figure it out, right? Because fear is gonna come up. Because it's new, it's different, you're not used to it. I remember when I had my book launch party, I was like terrified because I knew I was going to get interviewed and I was going to be like speaking all this empowerment and confidence. And I knew a lot of my family was going to be there, but I don't speak like that in front of them. Right? That's not their jam. Right? So I was like, they're going to be like, well, who does she think she is? What is she doing? And I was scared. And that caused me to procrastinate, to shrink back, and to not move forward with putting my book out as quick as I could have. Right? That made me nervous. Like, oh my God, they're going to be like sitting and looking and be like, what? But I had to take the leap and I had to do it. So I want you to be able to take the leap and do it. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I say all that to say, please make sure that if you are interested and wanting to learn how to up-level your branding, right? So the visuals, the vibe, right, that you put out to others, that's visually and emotionally, right? So, and that goes into you building a tribe that is going to rally around you and your brand, and they'll go out and tell everybody else about your brand. But you got to be able to build that brand up. A brand is an experience. Right? And some of you guys have already created it. You have a name, you have a logo, you have a mission and already, but it's way more than that. Right? I think I hired a branding coach, right? To help me figure that out. And then I've learned so many additional juicy nuggets along the way that I would love to share if you're going to join us for the retreat weekend, right? So that's on Friday of the weekend. We're going to kick off how you can brand and like create a profitable brand, right? If you will, right? And that's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Following that at 9, we're going to do a Netflix watch party. So we're going to watch the documentary. She did that. It's only an hour and 10 minutes. Some people have already watched it. Other people haven't, but it's an excellent conversation starter, right? That's going to help us get some juicy conversation started up because on the next day, on Saturday, right? And again, this is all coming up this weekend, right? On Saturday at 4, we're going to do a virtual networking happy hour where we're going to discuss She Did That, but we're also going to have an opportunity to connect and to figure out some collaborations that could possibly happen, as well as some resources, or it could be potential clients for you as well, because everybody's going to have an opportunity to share who they are, what they do with their particular business, and see how we can cross and do some connections with that. So there's going to be a fabulous icebreaker. So for those of you who have joined me before for other happy hours or for live events, you know I love icebreakers. So that's the teacher in me, right? And then we're going to have some additional activities, right? So we're all going to be together. We're not going to be kind of breaking off, but everybody who is at the happy hour is going to all kind of connect and be together. So it's an excellent way to have great conversations with like-minded women. So sorry guys, you're not allowed. Right? And again, we're going to be discussing the She Did That documentary, which is also going to guide some of our activities and what we do. So if you have the opportunity to watch it beforehand, that would be awesome if you're going to join us for that particular segment. Hey. And then after that, right after that at 6, we're going right into Magnetize Your Marketing. Marketing is becoming my like first love. My mom was like, that's what you need to be going to school for, that right there. Like that's your thing. And that is my thing. I like love marketing, right? So anyway, that's all about how to use your words, right, to win hearts and to open wallets. So a lot of people again are coming to me like, well, Tara, how can I get paid? Because I have a business name, I got a product, I got a service, but nobody's buying anything, right? That's because you're not speaking the right language, right, to your audience, right? You're not positioning your words, right? And also your branding probably also is not in alignment either, right? That is going to allow people to feel like they connect enough, right? They got to know you, like you, and trust you, right? Before they're going to say, I'm going to invest $100 or $1,000, right, into whatever it is that you're doing, right? So you got to keep that in mind. So we're going to get into magnetized marketing on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're going to kick off the morning with a boss prayer and affirmation call, right? Well, that is all connected to surrendering your business to God, to plugging into Him, allowing Him to come through you, right? And give you divine downloads, right? On the direction that He needs you to go in, right? It's going to get deep, right? And I'm also going to give you some of my favorite affirmations as well that I utilize, right, on my own journey. I'm also going to give, which is, I didn't post, right? But I do a lot of mindset things in terms of business, in terms of, making money and attracting clients and things like that. So I'm going to get a little bit more into that, but that's kind of like a little extra bonus, right? For that Sunday morning, right? So you can still go to church, but make sure you hit the call or you can get the replay. Okay. And then lastly, on Sunday, right, to end off the whole weekend, I'm going to be teaching people how to create their first, right, online course or program. So I think in 2016 is where I made my first course, and I made it quick. Like, I think I had the idea December. I made it by January. I had 5 women in it in like a week. Like, I hustled. I know way more now, but I hustled and made like $1,000 in 1 week. Because I really needed that $1,000 for like a course or something I was doing. And I was like, how am I going to make this happen? Listen, I'm about to use these gifts, right? And I made that happen. And then I'm crazy because I went and made 4 more programs, right? And people have taken them. I was going back through my records the other day and looking at who's been through. And I was like, and to my amazement, so many more women have been through than I even realized have been through since I created these programs. And I started reaching out to these women because some people I haven't heard from. Some people have still been rocking with me every year. Every time I have a program, they're buying it. And we're going to talk about that in the weekend. That it's easier to sell to people that you already are comfortable with, that already know you, than to do like cold calls or cold sales. But I have some women who done brought every program that I've ever made, all 5 of them. They done been in all of them, or they've been in almost all of them, right? And I'm like that with my own coach. My own life coach, she had a program this weekend, and here you go. I was like, Shannon, here you go. Email her, here go my money, to the point where she's like, you know what, now you need to come on and start teaching some stuff, right? Which is a conversation I'm having with my own coach, because she's way bigger than me. But she's like, now it's your time to switch and come on up to this level, because I've been rocking with her every year, the same thing. So I want you to have that experience where you have a coach or you have a mentor yourself, but also that people are coming to you over and over again. They're recommending you or referring you. I have a client like that. She recommends me. When I tell you, since she's come into my life, she has recommended and referred me so many times. And I have gotten so many clients, so many testimonials, so many great connections from just one person that keeps coming back. And we keep building this reciprocal relationship that is amazing. And I want you to be able to have that experience in your own business with your own clients and your own customers over and over and over again. Okay. So again, that is Empowerment Boss Virtual Retreat Weekend, right? It's April 24th to the 26th. Like I said, the last day we're going to end with making your first online course. It's great for you to sell, your journal, but it's even better if you could teach somebody else how to do that, right? And that could be a passive income stream for you. Right, just so you know, it's also an excellent way to establish your expertise. And then whatever you put into a course could ultimately become a book. It could also ultimately become a speaking topic. And if you ever go on TV, if you ever go and you speak somewhere, you can always upsell people to your course. Right? Mm-hmm. Or if you have a product, you can always use it as an upsell. Mm-hmm. Now my boyfriend called. You can always upsell it. He gonna call back. You can always upsell it, right? To the next level, right? There's levels, right? When you become that boss, it's levels. So it's going beyond just empowering people on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, right? Or just helping because I just love everybody and I want to help them, and becoming a boss, to be right, because there's levels to this, right? And you hear the boss, you hear the levels. That's because I like hip hop, right? The reason why I like hip hop is because they all think they bosses, right? So when I listen, I be like, yeah, I'm a boss too, right? So anyway, remember, being a boss is being business minded. I told y'all I was going to call back. Being a boss means you're being business minded. You're optimistic. Making money is super easy if you believe it is, right? Serving others is super easy, and I deserve to get paid for that as well, right? So, and we'll talk about how somebody comes back and say, oh, we don't have a budget. We don't have a speaker's budget for that. Okay. Right, during the weekend I'll make sure I include in there how do you react to that, right? Because I know one thing people always ask, well, Tara, I haven't made a course, or I haven't put out a book, or I haven't done X, Y, and Z because I don't know what price to give, or I don't know how to tell people I want to get paid to mentor, and I'm giving all my time away, right? So that is something that absolutely can be covered. So again, business minded, optimistic, right? Strategic and systematic. And then remember, the last bonus S is to speak up. Let people know who you are, what you offer, what value you bring to the table, right? And that's you pitching yourself and look, I'm here. Right? I got this book. Okay? I got this card deck, and this is what this card deck is going to do. And it's not just what it's going to do, but how's it going to benefit you. So that's what we're going to be talking about when we do magnetize your marketing, right? It's not about, okay, this is a card deck. This is not my card deck. This is something I use with my friends. But anyway, it's not about just having this, right? You're not just posting everybody buy this. It's way more to impact. Listen, I keep getting calls. I think my y'all, let me stop. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My phone keeps going up, but it's not about you having this card deck. It's about how can this benefit somebody. That's what I mean by using your words to win hearts and to open wallets, but also to open you up to opportunities, right? It's a lot about using those words, using those connections in order for you to continue to move to your next level. So again, if you have found value in this our time together, as we've been on live together, then I encourage you to make sure you go to bit.ly/fierceboss2020, and you'll see it up there, and register. You can register for the whole weekend, and if you, there's so many benefits to just registering for the whole weekend. You get all 3 sessions, you get the networking happy hour, you obviously are going to get access to the prayer call. If you don't want to do all that, you're only going to get access to that particular class and a couple of bonuses. So basically, you should get a weekend pass. And if you get a weekend pass, you get a 30-minute one-on-one where you get to talk to me directly. We can hop on Zoom. We can hop on the phone. Once the weekend is over, right? And you get an opportunity. You can ask me you can basically pick my brain. Ask me any questions you want. Ask me about your brand, and ask me to help you sit down, go over anything with your course or your product or your service, or how do I pitch myself? What should I price this? You can ask me whatever you want. You have that 30 minutes to yourself. So it is an incredible deal, right? It's an incredible deal. for the entire weekend if you want to join us. And guess what? I already put it out and I already have 3 people that already purchased. So it's going to sell out because I don't want it to be so many women that's a part of it that I can't provide you, with the time that you need as you're going. Obviously, I'm going to be teaching, but the beauty of showing up live and being a part of it is you get to connect with like-minded women, but also you get to have that time with me, right? That you're not going to have no other time, right? So we're going to take advantage of that time, right? And make the best of it. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. If you're just hopping on, please feel free to go back. Again, my name is Tara Pritchett, and I am a confidence coach for women, but I'm also your new branding and marketing mentor. And I look forward to seeing you next weekend. Bye.